You never know when it's gonna be cold in here or hot in here.
Doubling up?
Yeah, man. Don't see
You really aren't gonna be able to breathe.
I think you can do a small one. I like to feel it a lot. I like it nose piece.
I guess we'll just wait. The theater is on.
I know it is.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
You feel yours push it, but is yours tight all the way around between your head?
No, no, mine stays.
Tight.
I mean, stays on.
Yeah, it's just too big. It's the first one she made.
He's not on his phone or anything, is he?
No,
No, I think it
he's put this coffee on his desk.
Waiting on Ron. Did you get Ashley's text?
I wrote back and said, well, I was at home almost the whole weekend. I go, maybe it was just respiratory or something. He wrote back and said, that's what the doctors told me, probably just the bug or something. Well, what you're going to find is, later on around this place, you're going to find that every single person in the building phone tested, just mark my words.
To turn off the music, press 1. Microsoft Network Communication Solutions.
Hi, how are you? I mean, she hasn't been here since Monday last week, and she did, the only reason why she stayed home is because her husband, police chief of Carterville, wasn't feeling good. So she hadn't been here in a week.
Oh, she wasn't home as part of the rotation.
No,
No.
and she just stayed home with him. And then she got it on Thursday. She was perfectly fine here on Monday. She had been part of the rotation, I think, but this just wasn't her turn.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, it's coming up. This one should be off this week. Brandon told me one person likes it all so much that they resigned from the, what are people turning resignation for
Really?
the grant position?
Wow.
They're making more money like it all. Knocked the coffee over, which I don't know. I don't know what it means, I don't know if it was.
Andrew, he said one of the grant positions did resign.
Oh, yeah. That's what Brandon told me. Which one? I
You ready?
I just wasn't on the song.
Okay.
He told me that a couple of days ago.
I think they're both
Let's
named
get
Jennifer, so
going
it's
with
probably
this.
Jennifer.
This is the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting, the regular meeting. It's May the 12th at 10:08 a.m. Roll call, please.
Ron Ellis,
Present.
Jim Marlowe,
Present.
Brent Gentry.
Present.
At this time, let's everybody stand, please, while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brent, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Dear Lord, thank you for letting us together today. And as many days, I pray the same prayer that we could get some relief from this COVID-19 outbreak and people will start to get back to normal. Lord, I pray that you'll be with our men and women as they fight for freedom, or be with all our government levels, that they do the right thing. We really pray hard that all this goes away, and to the people who lost loved ones, we feel for them. God direct us 3 days of our life and bring us back together again. I thank you, pray. Amen.
Okay. There may come a time due to this COVID-19 that we may have to just all join in a conference, instead of meeting like this.
Say kumbaya, but yeah,
But, it seems like every time you turn around, you hear of something new coming about. But anyway, let's go ahead and start with Greg. Are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, Greg, do you have anything from the highway department that you'd like to talk about?
No, the only thing I was gonna mention to you guys is, we're about a month away from the coal mine. We're gonna need to close down Thompsonville Road, to excavate out that pipeline, so that's approaching. And I'm just gonna remind you guys about that, and we'll be sending out press releases as it gets nearer, but, that is coming.
Okay. All right. You guys have anything to add to that?
well, you're not too exciting today, Greg. You want,
Well, we're carrying on the highway department, so.
Okay.
all right, buddy.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Under old business, we have the motion to bid accounting services.
Going forward with, I know we haven't even started the really thinking about the budget for next year, but I think that it's really going to be critical that we look at all the P's and Q's and dollars and cents. And I think it's something that we seriously need to consider doing bidding the services, because our cost for accounting services as a whole is, we're at about $150,000 a year is what's projected. And I think that without being bid, quite frankly, is not a good situation.
One thing I gotta say, you told me the other day that we're really gonna need Kim's guidance and stuff this year on her expertise. What you told me last week,
Yeah, that's what
on
I
the
said.
budget process, so I understand where you're coming from, but I think it can't be both ways, so, but you're right, we need to do expertise, I'm not interested in it, so, all right, so, what else we got? Do you know that?
No, I'm good. I'm not interested in it right now, and for the exact same reasons. If there's a reason why we are unhappy with the services, I think through her guidance and expertise, that's one of the main reasons why this county is in the shape that it is in, the good shape that it is in, and why we've had balanced budgets. But
Well, bidding the accounting services and bidding the audit are two different things. She can provide accounting services. It's the audit. The actual audit should be bid.
the treasurer's office does all the accounting for us.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
If that's the case, then why does she help us with the budget and we go to her for questions all the time?
Consulting, we hire her for consulting which you've approved in the past. So,
It's been a while,
okay, but you have approved it. So,
but that still doesn't say anything about bidding the audit services.
okay. All right, well, that's not on here. This is a bidding the accounting services. The
But it's all the
treasurer,
same.
the treasurer's office does the accounting, so,
The treasurer's office does not do all the accounting of the county.
all right. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Treasurer's office invoices. I'm not sure what we have on those.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Is this Ashley?
Okay, I mean, this is Ashley. I mean, those are those invoices in regards to all the updates to our accounting system, in which we had to, update the W-4s and some of the other stuff pursuant to the new IRS rules. My office paid those, but there was a discussion about, that's not really included in my budget per se with the computer services, because mostly the computer services in my budget line primarily consist of the tax software and everything else. But I paid those out of my office for now, but we could probably table those or pull them off until we look at later in the year. We talked about maybe if there was contingency money or something else in a budget line item that we could use it, you know, because that was actually county-wide as compared to just, I mean, pertaining to my office, which is what the original budget line for the computer supplies and was designed for. So you can probably just remove that for now, and then we can revisit that. I mean, later in the year. I mean, unfortunately, I'm assuming we're going to be short anyway. So, I mean, it's going to have it's already paid and it's covered. So it's not like we're holding out Mark for payment or anything
Okay.
like that.
All right. We'll just table this for right now, and we'll discuss this with you individually, and we'll look at those invoices and everything, and then at a later time we'll decide what we're going to do with those.
Okay.
Okay. Is that all you got, Ashley?
Yeah, that was it
Okay.
for those. Yeah.
No problem. All right. Under new business, do you guys have anything else to decide for Ashley?
Or under old business.
Under old business?
No.
Before we move on? Okay. Under new business, we have the Williamson County Mineral Rights Agreement. That was just what we just had individually talked to Lanny about. And what we're talking about is the property that we sold. We own the mineral rights, and some people that purchased the property were interested in acquiring the mineral rights from us. So we didn't have a problem in giving them the mineral rights. We'll make it available to those if they request it, those that purchased our property but haven't requested it. If they change their minds and do request it, we can give them the mineral rights to the property that they own as well. Along with that, though, they would be taxed on those minerals as well. So we had about 3 purchasers of our property in that auction.
Yeah,
Of 4.
3 different ones.
3 different ones.
4 different tracks.
2 of the 3 never brought up the issue of mineral rights. Only one of them did, but we decided as a board, if we're going to do it for one, we'll give all the mineral rights if they so choose to have them.
If they're owned by us.
Yeah, if the property was owned by us.
And the mineral rights we're talking about is for coal and coal only, because we don't have the rights to the oil,
Correct.
to oil rights.
So, and then moving on, we have the new CMS rates.
I think that we should table this, and because we're getting ready, this month, we're supposed to be meeting with different insurance companies. And instead of agreeing to this, that starts July 1, we need to hear from all of the different insurance companies and see if this is the program we're going to stay with.
That's fine, man.
That's fine. Julie also stated that even though this starts July 1, if at a later time we decide we found something better,
We can pay and go and then. come back
we
in.
we just need to give us a 60-day, I believe, notice that we're going to
Cancel.
cancel.
Okay.
So with no penalty. So,
Yeah, I mean, we are kind of behind a little bit, but naturally with everything going on, that's why
Yeah.
we're behind. Otherwise, we'd be on track.
Yeah.
So
okay. The next item is the elected official salary.
In the month of May is when it's determined what the salaries will be for the elected officials that are going to be elected, that start their new terms on 12/1 of this year. May is that month. And it's, something we need to take a look at. But at the same time, not just for those elected officials, we need to take a look with the pandemic and all of the furloughs that we have. I think it would behoove us to look at all elected officials and, come up with a game plan for freezing the salaries for the elected officials.
okay, who is? I'm sorry, I don't know who all's running. Who all's on the ballot this year? Or what? Not named. What office?
My seat as county commissioner. the
Circuit clerk.
circuit clerk, and the treasurer.
Yeah, I believe the treasurer has already got
His is a 2-year term.
not according to the resolution I read. Ashley, you on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Doesn't your resolution go out 4 years, the one that they handed me yesterday? One Stephanie handed me?
Well, I mean, I'm up for reelection. There's a special election for the treasurer position because Brinson had just been reelected
Correct.
in 2018 in the normal cycle. So
So
if you are, if you're appointed, you're required to run in the next general election,
Yes.
no matter whether or not that's in your cycle or not. So my position is up for reelection in November. I mean, just like the circuit clerk and the state's attorney and the coroner, as well as yeah, Ron's position.
Coroner's another one.
I forgot about the
And
coroner.
then he'll be up like in 2 years, and then that'll
And then,
reset the
yeah, then
4
in 2
year.
years, I'll hopefully, assuming I get reelected, yes, I will be up in the normal treasurer cycle.
Yeah.
Which is the same cycle as what the county clerk and the treasurer usually on the same cycle.
Well, I've got Stephanie grabbing something because I just need clarification what this means because I'm not so sure what all this means here. Just a second. And
The state's attorney's salary is established by the state legislature.
that's right.
And then the lead public defender's salary is 90%
Yeah,
of the state's attorney's.
that's correct.
So those do not fall under anybody else's jurisdiction but the state court and the state legislature.
I want to just kind of go back to some history of 2011. The change in office holders came in 2011. The county clerk, the treasurer, circuit clerk, supervisor assessment, and sheriff's salaries were all equalized at the same amount. Okay. At that time, there was some ranting and raving with the 3 office holders, because I heard it. And they were saying they're behind the other office holders, they'll be caught up, the other office holders. At the time, the sheriff's department said that their chief deputy was just almost making the same amount they were. They wanted adjusted, and there was a lot of friction amongst office holders on their salary. So, I have it all in print. There's no guessing game about it. And so they all got brought up to the same amount, and they had a 3% increase. So the supervisor assessment also gets paid back through kind of like the state attorney does too, reimbursed.
Mhm.
So there was a big hoopla between 3 or 4 of them throwing absolute fit because they weren't on the same price or the same amount of money they're making. So where I'm going with this is the situation we don't want to get into. And Ron, I know where you're coming from, but I want to show you what's kind of next to impossible on this. So you have 4 people coming up this year, and whatever you've got this decision, well, we won't even make it today. We're talking because we got to the end of May, but this decision here has nothing to do, does not affect either one of us 3 up here. This decision, how we vote on this, has nothing to do with us. Ours is already in there at 3%, just like many of the other office holders. So if you come out on this office holder group coming in, whatever you set that for is good for 4 years of the term. So I can't guarantee who's going to be sitting in this seat or any seat in 2 more years when you make the next adjustment. So whatever you do now, you must do for the next 2 years and the next 2 years, or you're going to go right back to what I just read you back in 2011. People saying crying foul and they don't make as much as I do and blah, blah, blah. Plus, many of these office holders get a stipend that ranges between $5,000 and $6,500 on top of what their base pay is. So their base pay is in the 80s now, plus they get that stipend on top of it. Everybody agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you start with 1 now, and it's hard to play catch up. When you go 2, 2, and 2, means 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. So whatever you do here, you must continue to do for the next 2 years and the next 2 years, whether it's 3%, 2%, 1%, freeze, whatever you do. And I can't guarantee you who's going to be sitting in these chairs 2 to 4 years from now that's going to be making that decision for anybody. So this is a very iffy deal that how you do this. And so I was going to bring that up, that this is only for the ones coming up now, and then you got to do the exact same thing for the next 4 years. I don't know who's going to be here, so it's a tough one. I got some ideas on it. We'll get to in a minute, but I want to go back to one thing. Ask you about this. Resolution 1805-0943 comes in and says that the county commissioners say that December 3rd, 2018, that the treasurer, sheriff, county clerk will receive 3%, and that will run through 2022. So is that you or not you?
I mean, I guess technically it would be me. Obviously, that was before I got in.
So it's for the
And
office.
that would have been, I mean, when Brenton would have just been reelected. So, you know, my situation is a little bit different in the fact that, you know, I'm in a special election. I'm not in a, what would be considered a normal election.
Yeah, I see
So,
what you're saying.
I mean,
Okay, I get it, but so it's for the office, I guess. So it just says
yeah.
treasurer, sheriff, county clerk shall receive 3%.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not specific to the. I mean, the respective candidate or the winner. I mean, because otherwise it would have said, you know, Brenton Venable, and then I guess if Brenton Lee, you know, when he retired and left, and I got installed, I guess you could have, you know, changed it and modified that to only be good for the 2 years, you know, until I was up for.
No, that's right.
For
Yeah, it's
election.
kind of an odd situation, this special
Yeah,
runoff
yeah.
election, whatever you want to call it. The other 2 points, and I'll shut up. The other 2 points are, I also looked up at COLA, which is the cost of living. Nationally, it's just under 1.8, and statewide, it's about 2.765. So I want to throw those numbers out too, but I was here during all this friction, and I remember very well, everybody pointing fingers at everybody. So to make a move on this, it's going to be done for the next 6 years, exactly the same way you do it now, if you're going to keep fair and balanced. That's all I'm going to say. So but like I said, it doesn't decision that have to be made today. We can talk about it. We got to the end of May, but these are things I take to heart, and I want to make sure I make the right decision. And so I've seen the other side of this. It wasn't too pleasant.
There is a solution to another solution to this also. Presently, the county clerk, the treasurer, the sheriff, and the circuit clerk, their base salary is $86,253. Commissioners at this moment are $69,153, and the coroner makes $44,718. With a 3% increase over the next 3 years, and that's what we're talking about, starting 12/1 through November 30th, 2022, the base salaries for the county clerk, the treasurer, the sheriff, and the circuit clerk under the present circumstances would rise to a little over $94,000 a year, $94,251. The commissioner's salaries would go to $75,566, and the coroner would go to $48,865. It can be done on this, that if the elected officers, and we're only talking about the elected offices, not people who are appointed to their positions, they can actually agree. And I've already checked with attorneys, labor attorneys, to make sure that this can be done, and it can be. Anybody can agree to freeze their salaries and to forego the 3% increase going forward. So everybody could remain uniform, but everybody would have to agree to that. And you'd have to put it in writing, and they would sign it. That is an option that can be done also.
Are you talking about these changes taking effect this December?
Yes,
And is that for people who are on the election ballot this year or everyone?
all of them.
No.
Okay.
No, we're talking about, this is what we're going to be voting on in May, 180 days for election, is
Is
these
for-
4 people only.
Yes,
And they're on the ballot this November?
yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you have to do it again 2 years and 2 years. That's where
That's what
all,
he's talking about.
believe me,
Okay.
I heard the office holders, I told you how we got to where we're at, because the whining and carrying on over the years in 2011. I told you how we got where we're at. There's not an easy fix to any of it. It may sound simple.
I just want to make sure Brandon forwarded an email to me from the appellate prosecutor's office that pointing out that you can't freeze an elected officer's salary during their term.
That's correct.
Mhm.
That's
You can't unless they agree to it. That has to, you have to, there's another sentence to that. And if it's agreed upon, but you're correct. You cannot just arbitrarily come in and say, okay, we're going to change an elected person's salary in midterm. That is absolutely correct. You
I guess
cannot do
I
that.
guess my question on this, when has anybody around here ever agreed on one thing? So,
That's true.
so I think that, I get what, I think it's all, I gotta laugh. I get where you're coming from, but you've never seen anybody agree on anything around here, straight across the board. So that probably gonna be a moot point, but I do hear what you're saying.
I think part of that too, Brent, early on was whenever that first came about was that the employees were actually approaching the level of the department head as well, and their
Correct.
salaries.
Yeah, it was a
And
bad
so,
deal.
yeah, they're, for being a department head and all the responsibility that you have and all that you have hanging over you, you are at the same, if not in some instances, less at a salary than the employees.
Well, Brent, wait a second.
I want-
If you remember back at that time, when the three office holders came to us, they literally, and they presented a good case, that there had not been a raise in the elected officials' salaries in 20 years, literally. And they presented that. And that's when we had Mike Ruffley. He was our person from the state's attorney's office, assistant state's attorney, but he was the person that was assigned to us through there. He researched that at great lengths, and it took him, oh goodness, a couple of months to come up with the total research on all of that, on how to do all of that. What we didn't think about at that time was we set everything up. What we didn't consider was when at what point should it end? And you're exactly right. It is convoluted would be a good word, because when you have elected officials and they're staggered, for an example, it takes 6 years for all 3 commissioner seats to come up for election because they're staggered 2-2-2. It takes.
And also every 2 years, you're gonna have somebody on this.
Correct,
too.
correct. It takes 4 years for all of the other elected office holders, and that's staggered over a 4-year term, because as we have this time, we have the coroner that's affected by this, the coroner and the circuit clerk, and it just so happens that it's the treasurer for a half a term. Then the next one would be the county clerk and the treasurer again, one of the commissioners, and the sheriff would be the next one. So it gets very convoluted in trying to coordinate on all of this. And the only thing I'm bringing up is that if we're asking, we have asked people to be furloughed, and, for lack of a better word, the elected officials have a little bit of skin in the game also in seeing theirs. And we're elected officials are much different than just, I'm going to say, the rank and file, because of it being elected, the state statutes literally dictate how the salaries are done, and we have to abide by that. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to try to maneuver through all of this. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I do. I think I've got kind of a thought on this is, I also looked at the other things. I looked at the employee's salary and their base pay. $25,000. I know we're not voting on anything, Dad. I just want to throw some facts out. $25,000 person would get a 4% increase based on the rate that we're giving them now. And keep in mind, we give the union the same as the non-union, the same increase. A $50,000 person would make a 2% increase. So where does 3 fall in at? It falls in between it. So that's great. But I think that the elected officials have a lot on their plate. They run an office, and I think not giving a raise would be a slap in the face. So I think, and you're right, it's convoluted what words we're going to use, is what I would like to see is I would like to see what you just said. The skin in the game should be from everybody. And I would be willing to offer a 2%. You take the 1%, that doesn't sound like a lot, that 1%, but you take $600 to $800 per person times all the office holders, you're looking at $5,000 to $7,000 in savings. And do 2%, and then in 2 years do 2%, and then in 2 years do 2%. I hope to God that's what everybody would vote on, and that way everybody's got skin in the game. You know what I mean?
Get back on track.
Well, and
They're
the
back
other,
on track. And I don't know if I'm gonna be sitting here or Jim, I don't know who'll be sitting here, but I would hope they would follow suit at the 2% and still put the skin in the game, which is $5,000 to $7,000 a year of savings versus the 3% they had in the past, because a $25,000 employee gets 4%, a $50,000 employee gets 2%. And I think we should invest the skin in the game like everybody else. My take.
well, and Brent, I'm gonna throw this at you too. You pointed out a little bit ago what the current cost of inflation is.
That's right.
Typically, inflation runs between 1% and 2% a year,
Yep.
typically. Sometimes it's a little bit higher if we have some extreme situations happening countrywide, but it is 1% to 2%. So I'm not advocating,
Oh, no.
please, that everybody go to zero, that we just totally freeze it. Because of the cost of living, I think that I would absolutely agree. A 1% to 2% would be, if you stay with the cost of living, or even put it in where you go with the COLA, whatever the cost of living in is, because in some situations down the road, we don't have any idea right today what inflation is going to look like in 5 years or 10 years from now. And if we set it up, we could even do this, where we don't give a traditional raise. There's a lot of businesses out there in the business world that give a COLA increase. So whatever the COLA is, cost of living,
Okay.
that's what that raise would be that year.
That's right. That's right. And it did drop. It's 1.7 now at federal, but the state is 2.65. So you're in between. So that's why I thought
2%.
2%. And then you do 2%, 2 years, 2%, and then
Well-
everybody's back on track.
Well,
And that's still savings.
are you good at 2%?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd vote for it today.
Are you good at 2%?
Yes.
I'm good at 2%.
Then that's just, hey,
Vote on it.
is that the American Idol? Then you're going to Hollywood. So then, if that's what we want to do, I'd make the motion to make the way this is a resolution, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
Your resolution number?
No, I don't have it here. That's what the resolution is talking about.
That did remind me of Hollywood, but that did remind me of American Idol. Are you okay? You okay? Good. Let's go.
It'll have to be prepared to where it says.
Okay.
the 2%.
We don't have to vote on it today. We can vote on
Well,
it.
we can build a contingency, contingent, that's gonna be the resolution number, come back with that.
Let's just do that.
We just have to
Okay,
make sure we do it this
Okay,
month.
I, just to put on record, I will make a motion to set the incoming office holders that are on the ballot this year at a 2% increase, contingent upon the resolution number that she'll be bringing to us for the next meeting. And my hope is 2 years after this, it will be 2%. And 2 years after that, it'll be 2%. And everybody's on the same playing field. And that way, skin is in the game from office holders, just like we've asked everybody else to put skin in the game. Good cause, we're all in it together. And that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Brent Gentry.
Yay.
Next item on the agenda is the mobile home taxes payment and penalty date resolutions. Ashley, you want to talk about this?
Well, yeah, there's nothing to present to you at this time. Philip was on furlough, and then I thought I had included Brandon in the email whenever I sent that out, but unfortunately I had typed in the wrong email address that popped up into my pre-fill slot for the email. So whenever I followed up with you yesterday, Brandon hadn't seen it, and I don't think Philip returned until maybe today or maybe late yesterday. So that's going to need to be tabled until I think you possibly have a meeting Friday, if I'm not mistaken. For Celeste.
Yeah, we
And
do.
maybe,
Yeah, we do.
9 o'clock, I think.
Let me,
okay,
yeah,
so if we could
10,
vote on it at
10:15.
that time. I'm gonna get together with them
At 10:15.
here probably this afternoon or tomorrow to get the language drafted. But essentially what it is in statute says that usually the payments are due June 1st, at least for property taxes. It doesn't necessarily clarify mobile homes, but they kind of follow the same suit. So since I moved the mobile home due date back to July 10th, just because of the COVID issue and everything going on. And then I'm also going to offer a 60-day grace period for those particular payments, but then make the payment retroactive to the due date. So the way that this would work would be normally for every 30 days they're late, it's a $25 fee up to $100. And then the way this would work now, they get it to the 60-day grace period. So then after that, on that 61st day, the penalty would be set in force, and it would actually roll back to the original, like 31 days. So or to the original due date. So in essence, on that 61st day, they would be receiving like a $75 late fee. So I'm offering the grace period, but the goal is to try to get the people in grace period to be able to pay, but it's not intended to reward, the individuals that have continuously paid delinquent in the past and just, are kind of holding true. It's going to be the same kind of premise whenever I do our property taxes, when we figure out what those due dates are going to be, offering a 60-day grace period for the individuals, but then also making that penalty retroactive to the first day if they fail to pay on that as well. I'm just kind of giving you, the layout of how things are going to be presented to you, so you can get an understanding of what our office is trying to do, and then be aware of the issues with the decrease in income and work available for a lot of people, but at the same time, we have to be able to collect money for all those taxing bodies whenever their fiscal year ends, probably either June 30th or May 30th, June 30th, July 31st, and they're already rolling into their next year. They need to be able to have money in hand, honestly, by the end of August to be able to continue to operate, and especially whenever the state payments are going to be low. And we need to be able to collect some of those late fees as well, because I think have budgeted $210,000 in late penalties that we're allowed to keep on the collection process. And even if I were to just waive a quarter of that, I mean, you're talking $40,000, a $40,000 hit to our budget, which, after sending you the information on the PPRT that was reflected in April, and then probably what we're anticipating with some of that other stuff being anywhere from 20 to 30% below, we just can't afford to do that and be able to operate.
Okay.
So that's my long story about telling you we need to table this until Friday.
Okay.
And we'll have it to present to you.
Okay. All right. We'll just go ahead and table it.
I'll read these next ones. Accept the reports for Williamson County clerk fees accounts for March, the Williamson County clerk vital records for March, the Williamson County clerk vital records for April, and the Williamson County general fund report for March. We'll accept all those reports.
Good job. Good job.
Okay, moving on, we have a resolution, the continuation of employee health insurance. This,
Is that,
That's with the new rates.
huh?
That's with the new rates.
that's what we had all
So
those
you
new
guys
rates
tabled
for.
that,
Right, okay.
Right.
Right, gotcha.
so this
Okay.
needs to be tabled.
So, okay.
And this runs from July 1 to June 30.
Correct.
Okay. So I just need a motion to accept that we continue with employee health insurance benefits.
No,
Well,
we
you
table
tabled-
that.
you
We have to table that
the new
because
ta-
rates.
we
it goes
tabled
hand in
the-
hand with the other one.
The CMS new rates,
Oh, okay.
They go hand in
okay.
hand.
Gotcha. All right. My bad.
Table and table.
Table and table.
two tables,
We got a lot of tables here.
equals a knife.
All right. We have a sale to new owner Kaylee Owens.
Make a motion that we accept the sale to new owner Kaylee Owens, 0532206035.
Second.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Brent Gentry.
Hey,
Jim Marlowe.
Yay. It's not in the packet here. I believe it's sitting on Julie's desk, but we have a resignation on the merit board. And it's Steve Land. He's the chairman of the merit board. He sent us his letter.
Letter's in here.
Is it in here? Okay.
I just didn't have for the new appointment.
I thought you said it was sitting on her
it's
desk.
not.
No, I didn't have anything for the new appointment, which you said you don't have that yet.
I don't have it.
I don't have the letter either.
You don't have it in here?
No.
We trust you on it.
Well, I have it right here. Do you want
Okay.
it?
I know we did get one from Steve.
Yeah.
that
Let's look at it.
Yeah.
He's finally retiring.
You decided not to serve another term. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we don't have a
We don't have,
recommendation for replacement
Right.
yet.
No.
Okay, so,
I have an idea, and I'll run it by you guys, after I see if he's wanting to accept it. I'll run the idea by you guys in a name. So we'll see, and we'll go from there.
I always thought the merit board presented us somebody that they wanted. Yeah, because they have to
Well,
go through
we'll-
the qualifications of the merit.
Well, then I'll run the name by Benny.
Okay.
See if he approves it.
I'll go ahead and make a
Steve-
motion to accept.
Steve was the chairman, so that's
Correct.
why it's kind of, normally we don't get a resignation from a chairman. So, because the chairman normally appoints or recommends who to
Right.
appoint. So,
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Steve Land from the merit board.
I'll second it.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Brent Gentry.
and his term expires at the end of this
I think
month,
it says
so,
on there.
yeah, he runs through the end of May.
And to be continued on the new appointment.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm not real sure because we've never had this, how that works, but I know that the merit.
I know the term's involved somehow, but I don't know how.
Right.
I'll get with Benny and I'll see if,
It expires May 15th.
May 15th?
okay.
Yeah, but Steve will stay on there until that vacancy's filled.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We have a couple of appointments to the Corinth Water District. Let's see here. Says a vacancy will exist on the Corinth Water District Board due to the expiration of John Etherton and Eric Kelly's term. And that the chairman is hereby reappointing John Etherton to serve another 5-year term due to expire May 1st, 2025, and Eric Kelly to be reappointed to serve another 5-year term commencing on today's date and expiring May 1st, 2025. And this is from James Curley, the chairman. So we just need a motion.
One at a time or together?
We can do it.
We can do them
It's
together.
all on together. It's all on
Yeah.
one
All right, I'll
resolution.
make a motion to accept the nomination from James Carter, the chairman for Corinth Water District, to put Eric Kelly, reappointed to the Corinth Board. His term expires April 30th, 2020. I guess we're putting him back on. And put John Etherton back on the board too. He expires, term expires April 30th, 2020. So make a motion to put those two guys back on the board. I guess that's what both.
They're both on the same resolution.
That's what, so, here we go. We're on resolution 20051222.
Through May 1st, 2025.
Yeah.
Yep.
Need a second.
I'll second that.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Brent Gentry.
I've got a couple of things I just want to share with you guys before we open it up. I did get a phone call, 2 phone calls yesterday. One was from Mike Boss. He was just checking in, seeing if we needed anything. And I told him about started talking to him about the White Ash sewer system again. And his ears perked up when he found out that they still owe money on the bond through USDA. I'm supposed to contact his staff members. They sent me an email yesterday. I haven't had a chance, but as soon as the meeting's over, I'm going to get in contact with the staff members. And I believe Mike is going to try to see if we can get that absolved. and abated. So that would be a plus.
Who would pay it?
Huh?
Who would pay it?
I don't know. But this is with USDA, that's the federal department. So Mike, he didn't guarantee anything, but he just said he'll look into it. So that's what I'm going to do. So, but anyway, and then secondly, I got a phone call from a guy yesterday from he works at Harley Davidson, John Quigley. John was wanting to provide lunch at some time for every department in the county. And I said, I don't know.
They're doing that business. I did see that.
I don't-
I don't know.
But in light of the COVID-19 and in light of that we, close this building back down again, I don't know how that would be possible.
It's feeding the front line. It's called feeding the front line. That's what it's for. They're doing it to all essential workers.
Okay. And, but anyway, since we're all split up, I mean, we got people over there in the courthouse, we got people here in the admin building, we got people in the highway department.
Good, but I don't know that
I would, and that's kind of the way I was thinking. I told him, and I appreciate the adjuster, I'd get back with him to let him know what you guys thought. And honestly, I'd say just take that and give it to the homeless shelters, the lighthouse shelter.
Yeah,
It's kind of a scattered up, it's taking forever and people come in, track.
That's just it.
it is what they're trying to do. The purpose of what they're doing here is fantastic.
Yeah,
It really is.
absolutely.
And, but I agree with Brent, there's a lot of people that are really hurting and, in all of this. And, I think that, I commend them for what they're doing, but, I think there's other businesses and other people that really could use this a lot more than what we could.
I agree. And I think maybe what we could do is send them some sort of thank you on our letterhead and for the offer.
I think what they're doing is great
Yeah.
because they're really doing a good job for the service. for the
But I'll
community.
recommend that maybe he takes that to, let's say, the lighthouse shelter or something like that, where it could be used better. So that's what I'll do. I'll get back in touch with him. I just want to run that by you guys. So that's all I've got right now. Kelly,
Thank them for that.
yeah, I think we ought to send them something from both on our letterhead. Just we all sign it and just say thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Look like you're ready for combat with that mask. Go. Let's just see that mask. Come on up here. Let's see what that looks like.
Come on over here and give us a report.
Too far.
Huh?
Too close.
That's right. It's too close.
Hang on.
Oh, boom.
Hang on.
Boom, boom.
So I just wanted to touch base with you. I had a couple conference calls, that's why I was late. Just want to touch base with you, see if there's anything you needed from me. I talked to guy this morning. I sent you all an email on some guidance
Okay.
that you need to read.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Just for some guidance on what we need to do in our building, how things need to be handled.
I think I can speak for all three of us. That was an interesting phone call yesterday. I think if you have to hear that all the time, God bless you.
Every day,
Unbelievable.
every day. So,
To extend the conference for 15 minutes, press 1.
anybody has any questions or needs anything, holler.
Well, that could change in a heartbeat. At this moment, I don't, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna happen in 15 minutes from now.
I know overall, we're doing pretty good with the county as a whole.
I can tell you that we are just in the beginning,
Just what?
just in the beginning.
Based on
If you
what?
haven't seen our warehouse yet, we're stocking up for the second wave. We haven't hit our peak yet in Illinois, and according to our governor, we won't hit our peak until mid-July, or mid-June. We probably won't be hitting our next phase.
That's something that I had a question last night. I looked on the phone, I saw the numbers that appeared to be going down over the weekend. Of course, weekends always do. Then I saw yesterday's numbers go down.
Let me explain to you why.
So explain that to me.
The reason the numbers always go down on the weekend They usually jump back up on Tuesday or Wednesday because those testing numbers don't get reported on the weekend. They don't report numbers.
Got you.
They don't report until Monday to Tuesday. So then if you notice, Monday, Tuesday, they spike right back up. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, our numbers go up. Friday, they're up. And then back on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they're low because those numbers don't get reported on the weekend.
So today could be a spike.
It will be. It will be. It's not if, it will be.
Gotcha.
I wonder about that, because they say federal guidelines say 14-day decline. I know no state's hit that yet, but I saw 3 days.
If you look at overall, and I've got it on the calendar in my office, the last 3 weeks, there's only 1 or 2 days that we haven't had a positive.
What were you about to say when we were gonna hit our next phase on the governor's plan?
Opening up, we're not. Well, according to the governor, yesterday's briefing, he doesn't look for us to open up
Are we in 2 or
the
3?
next phase. We're in the phase 2, and he doesn't look for Illinois to open up in the next phase.
So that they just don't foresee, they don't have a date projected for hitting phase
It
3?
was supposed to be at the end of May. He doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
Because of the
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 way it's
June-
working,
peak.
so the way it's working is if everyone doesn't work as a whole, I don't know if you've seen the guidance, I sent it out to everyone. There's a map of Illinois and it's broken down by regions. That's
Right.
those regions are EMS regions. Every region has, that's the EMS regions is what that is. So we're region 5. So if our region 5 doesn't work as a whole and abide by the rules of what the governor says right now, then he's not gonna let stay open up. So if we have one jurisdiction that's not abiding by it, they're gonna screw it up for the whole region.
For the whole region.
Do we have a plan in place for if a court says that the governor is exceeding his authority?
We'll have to see, we'll cross that bridge. when we
I
get
think
to
there
that.
is. There's why you see a lot of lawsuits. I think it's absolutely atrocious that we have one person and one person only dictating how our state is being run. And I think it's an absolute travesty that one person thinks that he has the authority to shut down the whole state. That's why we have elected officials. They should have the House and the Senate involved in this.
They won't even come back.
Well, that's because the leaders won't call them
Yeah,
back.
call them back, yeah.
The Speaker of the House and the Senate President are mum on the whole situation, and they're just letting the governor literally dictate what we're doing. And I think it's an abomination that one person would totally destroy an entire economy. The only way we're going to get our antibodies built up is by being out there and being exposed to this. That's the way you do it with the flu. That's the way you do with every other virus. And you're not going to put healthy people, confine them into their homes or their rooms or whatever, and expect this to go away because our antibodies are not being built up. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out.
Have you got any information on like employees or workers, say like at Walmarts or other
I
things?
sent that to you today.
Okay,
That's what I sent you today.
okay, I just haven't got a chance to look at it.
I haven't seen it either. That's another thing, though. I think
There's
it's,
a ton of plethora, and here's the thing is they change it on a daily basis.
I know it.
Like it was at the beginning, it was the 12 days prior. Now it's just 48 hours.
But I'd like this governor, and he's not talking about it, but I'd like this governor to explain why you can have your big box stores open. If you want to buy shoes, I know it's money. You want to buy shoes, you want to buy clothes, you want to buy tractors, you can go to certain stores and you can do that. Yet you can't go to any mom and pop and do that. Nobody can explain to me,
Or
and I've sure asked.
why they have certain aisles blocked off in the middle of the store, that you can't go down that aisle. to
Yeah, you
purchase
can go one way.
something. Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got in trouble.
Walmart's got the one way.
I can't imagine you going the wrong way,
I
right?
was going the wrong. I didn't even know it.
But
And they said, "Did you not see the arrow?" And I said, "I didn't see the Indians." And it's absolutely ridiculous that you have businesses, clothing, men and women clothing stores that you can't go into, yet you can go to Walmart. And I'm not picking on Walmart. That's just the big one here. And, but you can't go to a mom and pop store. You could limit the people going to the store to 5 to 10 people and make sure that you're having the social distancing that is required. This is not being thought out, and this is being punitive. And quite frankly, the Constitution of the United States of America is we the people, not the governor.
Kelly, I mean, to answer my question, can you summarize what that email says about the employees?
Yeah, it's in here, I've got it right here. It's just, it's a guidance on if we have exposure at the office, what we need to do.
Yeah.
And it talks about, it being, 48 hours, someone being sick, anyone prior to being exposed around that person for 48 hours prior to that, what we need to do. They need to wear masks at all times, 14 days after.
Yeah, but no, my question was employees that work at these large department stores who are exposed to the public almost on a daily basis because that's their job.
Yes.
What type of number do we see of people contracting the
Community
virus?
spread?
Yeah, how it's being
community
spread. Yeah.
What numbers?
Yeah, I mean, do you see?
They're inaccurate. They don't know.
I mean, do you see like people that work in these stores, are they more susceptible to catch the virus? I mean, do you see an increase because they've been working at Walmart or say at the Menards or Home Depot?
We've had some that are.
I mean, because I would think that these people are on the, being exposed to everyone that comes in the store because it's such a large store and they are open to the public, that they would be the ones.
Most of our cases are community spread, and that's just how we're categorized.
Okay.
Then you got tricks down with it.
So in other words, you don't see statistics that say Walmart employees, and I'm just using Walmart as an example.
No.
There are higher percentages of Walmart employees
Nope.
coming down.
It's all based on, like long-term care, prisons, school district, churches. It's
Okay.
done like that.
Okay.
I have a question on testing. Someone told me last night that is testing, let's say all of us right here will go get a test today. And is it insurable test? Will it cost us money to get it or
You
no?
have top priority.
Huh?
You have top priority.
Okay, well,
So
You can look
certain
right
people
now
do then.
and tell them where you work at. I'm an essential employee, I work for the county government, and they'll walk you in and get a test right then.
well, I was told in Johnson
Where's that?
City, there's a Johnson City Healthcare that it's free. Something in Johnson City Health.
Okay, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for it.
So where are the testing places around here? So
Heartland, Urgent Care, and SIH Work Care for the year.
that's the one out by.
Heartland's across the street from Dixie Cream.
Or
Yeah.
whatever
And
it is.
then the one in front of Walmart, yes, and they've got you can't walk in, there's a number on the front door, and you pull up, and you call the number, they'll answer, you go through the questions with them, and then they'll come out and get you, and take you in, there's two sides, they'll take you to the left side.
Will that just tell you if you have it now or if you have had it?
There's two different tests. The blood work test will tell you if you have the antibodies, which will tell you if you've had it. The swab tells you if you have it now.
They can do both there.
I don't.
They do
think
the
so.
swab.
I
In
think
Johnson
they do
City,
swab.
the girl talked to us last night, said she got the blood drawing in Johnson City for the antibodies.
In Johnson City,
Some health, I don't know who it is.
that could probably be at the Ray Clinic, I would say, on 37, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
The Heartland is the swab.
Is that in your nose or your throat?
Yeah,
or what is it?
your nose.
Knows.
They take it to your throat.
Sounds encouraging. Go get it today.
It's not, I haven't had it, but I know someone very close that has, and they said it's very uncomfortable.
If no one else has anything, I think at this time we need to open up to anyone that may be on our phone
We got 5 minutes.
to address the board. I'm not sure if anybody's there listening that would like to
You have Tim.
address the board, but this is your time to do it, and we'll give for the next 5 minutes.
11:04.
After 5 minutes, if we haven't had anyone call in or ask us or talk to us, then we'll go ahead and disconnect and close the meeting out. So is there anyone listening that
If
would like
if
to?
anybody has a question, just state your name and shoot away.
Yeah.
I had a couple of calls. I don't know if you guys have an answer to this. Where people can take anything with recycling at this time, if there's anywhere in the county. And I said, I'm not aware of anything.
And not even the Jackson County.
Carbondale's still open. The recycling center.
Southern, not Southern, closed. Which
I
one?
just went there last week to drop some.
Which
The
one?
one by the Boys and Girls Club and the one by Oakland University Baptist.
They're
Church.
close to
What is
the
that one
SIH
called?
hospital, that one?
No, it's not.
No, it's
Oh,
not
the Boys and
Southern.
Girls Club is near the hospital.
So are they considered essential?
I don't know. It's just a drop off. It's a bucket. You put something in.
Yeah, you go in and that
And
week,
then
I've
they
gone
have a
over there
trailer.
before, but I didn't know if it
And
was
they
still
just,
open or
they
not.
just open, because we tell it good, because I tell people go there, it's Southern, no, that's Southern Recycling.
Sure. Yeah, I just went
Yeah.
there last.
Instead, they got their own little crate, you throw stuff in, and then you just go on out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's not the drive-through facility.
Okay, it's not.
Right by 51. There's one by the Boys and Girls Club, which is the old high school or the old middle school. Then there's another one on Oakland by University Baptist Church. It's just a trailer to toss cardboard in and a dumpster to toss glass and paper in.
Well, the reason why we're not running now is because we go to Progress Board and they're not open.
Right, progress report's closed.
And it is, not a lot of, there's close contact when you're picking stuff up from people, so, I wish we get it going, because people are wanting to do it.
I had a couple, I've had some
I mean,
calls.
that's a Detroit decision from us. I mean, if we want to work a deal, I guess, with Jackson County, this place here, I guess Kevin could take it there. It would be our call. But this could be going on through June.
Well, literally, the way our governor was talking
But
earlier this
Kevin's
week, it'll be,
furloughed, so I don't know.
No, I'm saying if we came back and came back.
he's not looking to open this stuff up
Don't think
until
he take
there's a
it.
virus, an inoculation. And shoot, that could take forever.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, I'll say.
And Ron, to your point earlier, we got an advisory memo basically concluding that the governor's executive order is unenforceable as under law. So I don't think we're looking to enforce any or prosecute any violations of it, but that doesn't invalidate his order. It just tells us that an appeal wouldn't be successful if we were to prosecute under a violation.
The difficult thing is businesses that have a license, they're the ones that are really put under the gun because they can have their license revoked.
State license.
Yes. And that, to me, that borders on treason. Because you cannot have, in my opinion, one person and one person only dictating how this is to be run and organized. And there's no due process here. It goes in direct violation of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United States.
Once again, if anybody's on the phone line, if they'd like to ask a question to the board, now's the opportunity.
1 minute.
You have anything, buddy?
Are you gonna call in or are you gonna talk from there?
I thought I'd call you.
Please do.
Jesse James? So you're a heavy breather. Are you Darth Vader?
Got my time?
Oh, man.
I still got about a minute.
We'll leave it at that.
We still got about 1 minute left.
Last call. Anybody got anything to say? Good or bad?
That number is on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
And I've
the
also put it online.
access number, 1599 pound.
Doesn't have the area code. I think Google can figure that out.
I don't know.
Well, we're definitely not 312.
I wouldn't count that, so.
So we got about 30 seconds left.
Brand new gun. Do I need anything? I just unraveled it. My hands are clean.
I hate my own gun.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
It's not good for your
To
feelings.
extend the conference for 15 minutes, press 1.
I've got that 5 minutes are up.
5 minutes are up, she says.
5 minutes up?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Ron Ellis,
yay.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brent Murphy.
Hey,
Oh, wait.
thank you all for coming.
That's all, folks.